Доброго ранку. Розпочинаємо робочий день у прес-центрі України.
Good morning. I give the floor to the Ministry of Defense spokesperson, Maksym Prauta. He will provide information about the activities of the Ministry of Defense. Good morning, dear guests. I'm glad to see you at our press conference. Here is information about the latest events in the Ministry of Defense and in the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Stepan Poltorak, started his visit to Canada. In the first day of his visit in Ottawa, he had a meeting with the Minister of National Defense of Canada, Harjit Sajjan. The Ministers of Defense signed an agreement on defense cooperation between the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and the Ministry of National Defense of Canada and the Armed Forces of Canada. This document will help to establish contacts between the Ukrainian side and representatives of defense industry of Canada, and this will help to improve support of the Armed Forces of Ukraine with contemporary military equipment. On the territory of the 65th Arsenal in Balaklia, continue works on liquidation of results of the fire. More than 130 soldiers and of engineer forces clear the territory and clear debris on this territory using obstacle removing vehicles. They found on this territory nearly 6,000 explosive devices. 830 of them have already been disposed. The works on the renovation of military town continue. In order to prevent fires on military objects, a meeting took place in Kyiv. This is a meeting on security of military arsenals and stocks. Among the participants, there are representatives of the Ministry of Defense and the General Staff of Ukraine, experts, representatives of defense industry, who provide equipment to ensure fire security on dangerous objects. During this meeting, it was stressed that due to efficient security system in Balaklia, it was possible to avoid more victims among civilians and critical damage to infrastructure. The participants of the meetings also discussed perspectives of modernization of the system. Over the last month, military engineers from Mariupol group defused in the east of Ukraine 1,400 mines and explosive devices. They cleared 14.5 hectares of land. In total, since the start of the year, they defused 2,369 explosive devices and cleared from them 22 hectares of land. Disposal of ordnance, mines, and explosive devices on special fields take place almost every day. Local authorities are always prevented about this, and these ordnance is diffused in compliance with all security norms. A frigate Gaziantep and corvette Heybeliada of the Turkish Navy arrived to Odessa with a friendly visit. Turkish representatives had a meeting with the representatives of the command of Ukrainian Navy and Odessa State Regional Administration. Both ships are now open for visitors for an excursion. Today, a conference on human rights and response to the needs of civilians who suffered in the armed conflict, providing emergency help and respect of international humanitarian law during the armed conflict, started in Kyiv. Among the participants, there will be representatives of the central authorities, experts on civil-military cooperation from NATO countries, members of international organizations and NGOs, representatives of Donetsk and Lugansk civil military administrations, and of Kiev city administration. And there will be also Chief of the General Staff, Chief Commander of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General of the Army Viktor Muzhenko. The ministry continues to pay remuneration to the soldiers who perform their mission in the east of Ukraine, in Donetsk and Lugansk regions. As of today, Ukrainian soldiers received more than 155 million hryvnias of financial remuneration. Of these, 146,257,000 for direct participation in combat, 7,624,000 for performing military tasks in units, and almost 1,250,000 hryvnias for destroyed military equipment of the enemy. The families of soldiers who died, who were killed in action, received more than 1,439,000,000 hryvnias. The wounded soldiers who became disabled received more than 1,020,000,000 hryvnias of compensation. Soldiers also receive awards for their courage and devoted service. Over the past week, the awards of the Ministry of Defense were given to nearly 100 staff members and soldiers of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. More than 1,000 soldiers obtained status of combat participant. Since the start of the conflict, state awards were given to more than 12,800 servicemen and staff members of the armed forces. Awards of the ministry were given to 38,190 soldiers. Nearly 2,000 servicemen and staff members of the armed forces received awards from the ministry since the start of 2017. The status of combat participant was given to 197,000 soldiers. Thank you for your information. The next press briefing of the Ministry of Defense will take place on Friday at 10 a.m.